His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Ma'am Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachanine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Vastaja Deshatamine. Today we're continuing our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, entitled The Cosmic Manifestation. Chapter 8, Questions by King Parikshit, and today we are on text 16. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Text number 16, please repeat. Pramanam andakoshasya. Pramanam andakoshasya. Vayabhyantara vedata.
Brahmanandakosasya Ayamyantavedata
Mahatam Chanucharitam
Mahatam Chanucharitam
Varnashrama Vinishchaya
Varnashrama Vinishchaya
Brahmanandakosasya
Brahmanandakosasya
Ayamyantavedata
Mahatma Chanucharitam
Mahatam Chanucharitam
Varnashrama Vinishchaya
Varnashrama Vinishchaya.
Anybody else? Word for word synonyms, please repeat. Pramanam.
Pramanam.
Extent and measurement.
Extent and measurement.
Andakoshasya.
Andakoshasya
Of the universe.
of the universe.
Vaya. Outer space.
Outer space.
Abhyantara.
Abhyantara.
Inner space.
Inner space.
Vedataha.
Vedataha.
By division of.
Mahatam.
Mahatam. Of the great souls.
Of the great souls.
Cha.
Cha.
Also.
Also.
Anucharitam.
Anucharitam.
Character and activities.
Character and activities.
Varna.
Varna.
Castes.
Yes.
Ashrama.
Ashrama.
Orders of life.
Order of life.
Vinishchaya.
Vinishchaya.
Specifically described.
Specifically described.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. This is King Parikshit speaking to Shukadeva Goswami. Also, please describe the inner and outer space of the universe by specific divisions, as well as the character and activities of the great souls, and also the characteristics of the different classifications of the castes and orders of social life. Purport. Maharaj Parikshit is a typical devotee of Lord Krishna, and as such, he is anxious to know the complete significance of the creation of the Lord. He wants to know the inner and outer space of the universal form. It is quite fitting for the real searcher of knowledge to know all about this. Those who are of the opinion that the devotees of the Lord are satisfied with mere sentiments can find in the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit good lessons as to how inquisitive a pure devotee is to know things in their true perfection. The modern scientist is unable to know about the inner space of the universal horizon, and what to speak of the space which covers the universe. Maharaj Parikshit is not satisfied with only material knowledge. He is inquisitive about the character and activities of the great souls, the devotees of the Lord. The glories of the Lord and the glories of his devotees combined together comprise the complete knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna showed his mother the complete universal creation within his mouth, while she, completely charmed by her son, wanted to look inside the mouth of the Lord just to see how much earth the child had eaten. By the grace of the Lord, the devotees are able to see everything in the universe within the mouth of the Lord. Bhakti Ann, do you remember from our Krishna book reading? Why did Mother Yashoda look in Krishna's mouth to find dirt?
Because, well, first off, Balaram says he ate dirt, and secondly, she was forgetting that Krishna was God, and she thought that he was just a little boy, and she wanted to protect him.
Yes, so Balaram had told tall tales about Krishna. So Mother Yashoda wanted to, she said, open your mouth and let me, if you haven't eaten, I haven't eaten dirt, all right. If you haven't eaten dirt, then open your mouth and prove it to me. The very idea of the scientific divisions of 4 classes of human society and 4 orders of life is also inquired about herewith on the basis of individual personal quality. The 4 divisions are exactly like the 4 divisions of one's personal body. The parts and parcels of the body are non-different from the body, but by themselves they are only parts. That is the significance of the whole scientific system of 4 castes and 4 social orders. The value of such scientific divisions of human society can be ascertained only in terms of the proportionate development of devotional service to the Lord. Any person employed in government service, including the president, is a part and parcel of the entire government. Everyone is a government servant, but no one is the government himself. That is the position of all living entities in the government of the Supreme Lord. No one can artificially claim the supreme position of the Lord, but everyone is meant to serve the purpose of the Supreme Lord. End of Srila Prabhupada's purport. Translation again. Also, please describe the inner and outer space of the universe by specific divisions, as well as the character and activities of the great souls, and also the characteristics of the different classifications of castes and orders of social life. So, in today's purport, Srila Prabhupada glorified Parikshit Maharaj for asking all these questions about, the inner and outer space of the universe. Previous verses, we heard him asking about the time element, how it's different from planet to planet, and how the inhabitants are different. And it sounds mundane. Like, sorry, I thought we were supposed to be developing prema bhakti, full surrender to Krishna. We're hearing all these details about the universe. So there's a reason, and that is because one can't love somebody properly and fully and in truth if one doesn't appreciate that which emanates from the person or which the person does. Like if you love an artist, necessarily you're going to appreciate their art, right? Because that art is none different than the artist. But if you appreciate the art but you don't appreciate the artist, then we can say you don't have proper appreciation of the art. That's like the material scientists. The material scientists are asking questions and doing research for the sake of knowing about the material energy, perhaps appreciating the material energy, but really they want to exploit the material energy. I want to know how the material energy works so that I can go in there and tinker with it and modify it, right? So that I can exploit it. Parikshit Maharaj is not asking about knowledge of the universe, etc., so that he can exploit it. He's wondering about how this material world is made, the time factor, space, etc., because he wants to appreciate it. And he wants to appreciate the artist behind this piece of art. And you notice when he wants to acquire knowledge of the universe, he doesn't do it by going to the laboratory. He doesn't get on his computer and start making, theoretical physics calculations or something. He goes to a spiritual master, one who's self-realized, and asks him about the universe. So, generally, we want to know about the world and the universe, etc., because we want to see what's out there, because I'm not satisfied with my position. I want to find something better. You know, we go get the newspaper and look under the real estate section because I'm not satisfied where I live right now, my apartment or whatever. Let me check out the real estate listings and see what other beautiful houses might be out there. You know, we check the airline schedule because we want to see when's the next plane to the Bahamas so I can take a vacation. We're always looking for a better situation. And that indeed is one of the reasons why there's space exploration and all these things. Because man is dreaming of, oh, when can we leave this hellhole called Earth? That we've made it a hellhole by polluting it, raping it, and we've destroyed planet Earth, Mother Bhumi. And so we're looking for better planets. Oh, let me see what's out there. Oh, maybe we'll go to the moon. Maybe we'll go to Mars. Maybe we'll just construct our own space station and create a perfect life there. So we're looking for better situations. But what does Krishna tell Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is the ABCs. He knows Arjuna is frustrated with his current situation. Oh my God, I have to go to war and fight relatives and get me out of here. Maybe his first proposition was, I'll just go to the forest and meditate. That's what I'll do. Run away to the forest. That'll solve all my problems. And Krishna laughed. Oh yeah, what kind of meditator are you going to be? You're a Kshatriya. You've got the mode of passion in you. You can't sit and be all peaceful and sattvic. Get real. You can't go to the forest and meditate. So then Arjuna's thinking, well, how else can I get out of here? And so Krishna destroys that doubt, and he tells them, Abrama bhuvana loka punar avartino Arjuna. It doesn't matter where you go, Arjuna. You can go to the topmost planet in this universe called Brahma Loka, Lord Brahma's abode. And guess what you're going to find there? What are you going to find there?
Death.
Birth and death. Oh, isn't that the same thing we find here? Oh, it just has a different flavor. It's strawberry flavored instead of blueberry flavored. But it's the same thing. So, Arjuna, don't think you're going to find happiness off of the battlefield. Because that's what Arjuna's thinking. My happiness is to be found off of the battlefield. And Krishna's saying, you can exit the battlefield and go 1 mile. You're not going to find happiness. You can go 1 billion miles, however many miles that is. I think it's 4 billion miles, something like that, 2 billion miles up to Brahmaloka. You can go there too, and you're not going to find happiness. In other words, there's no escape. You're stuck. Abrahma bhuvanaloka, punar avartino Arjuna. No matter where you go in this material world, all you're going to find is the same samsara, cycle of birth and death. And we were reading just the other day how the inhabitants of other planets have different time frames. So to us, Lord Brahma lives 311 trillion 80 billion years. I bet Bhakti-Nan couldn't even write that number on the board right now. How many zeros that's going to be, right? That's a challenge just to write the darn number out. Lord Brahma lives 311 trillion 80 billion of our years. But to Lord Brahma, it's just 100 years. He doesn't feel like he's living this amazingly long life. It's just 100 years. Just like we live 100 years, topmost, and to us it's 100 years. But to that little insect, that lives for 2-3 days of our life, he thinks we live for trillions of years, and he's living for 100 years. So everybody's got their 100-year period. So we're thinking, let me go to another planet where it's going to be so much nicer, and I'll enjoy there. And Krishna's saying, no, you're not going to enjoy there. And this is part of Maharaj Parikshit's questions. As he's progressing through his questions, through the 10 cantos, he's getting progressively more purified. The purpose purpose of asking questions to a guru is not to satisfy just material curiosity, it's for purification. It's for purification. Why am I asking these questions? To relieve doubts that I might have that impede me from surrendering to Krishna, and to give me appreciation of Krishna and his energies and his devotees. So in the purport, Prabhupada said that that Parikshit was, he was anxious to know the complete significance of the creation of the Lord. So what is the significance of the creation of the Lord? The significance is that the whole creation, from top to bottom, left to right, front to back, is all meant for engaging in the service of the Lord as a glorification of Krishna. So therefore, in the midst of his questions here, he asked, please also tell me about the character and activities of the great souls. Because unless the universe is inhabited by great souls, then there really is no value to the universe. It's the great souls who teach us how to use the universe, everything in the universe, in yajna, or sacrifice to the Supreme Person. So, Arjuna also asks, Parikshit also asks about the characteristics of the different classifications of the varnas and ashrams. Basically indicating here that each individual person has their personal propensities, they're at a certain particular stage of life, their progression through life. So the scientific arrangement of varnas and ashrams is meant to situate people in a proper, peaceful situation materially so that they can dedicate their time and energy to devotional service. So Prabhupada made one statement here that the value of such scientific divisions of human society, many people just academically study the ancient varnashram system of India, not because they plan on instituting it in their modern countries, but just an academic study. But it doesn't have any value except that it's another academic subject matter. But Prabhupada here says the value of such scientific divisions of human society can be ascertained only in terms of the proportionate development of devotional service to the Lord. Only in terms of the proportionate development of devotional service to the Lord. So what does that mean? That the value of the varnashram system can only be ascertained by looking at the proportionate development of devotional service to the Lord. So a couple of points. One is that Prabhupada used the example of parts of the body, that every part of the body has its specific function that it's supposed to do. But it has no value in and of itself. We can separate the kidney from the body and just hold it over here for you to see, but it has no value now. It only has value when it's properly connected to the body and properly functioning in a healthy way. Every part of the body is like that. So similarly, our varna, our working propensity, actually has no value unless it's being conducted with other varnas to make a whole. The bodily parts have no value unless they come together and work cooperatively as a whole. So the different varnas actually have no value unless they come together and work cooperatively as a whole. But what is that whole? Like the parts of the body, the whole is the body. The parts, Prabhupada said also an example of government servants. The whole is the government. So we could say that the different parts, different varnas and ashrams are part of society. Okay, but there's a greater whole to which we all belong, all living entities, and that is
Yoga.
Bhakti Yoga, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because we all are parts and parcels of Krishna. So unless we're using our working propensities in our varnas and ashrams for the service of the whole, Krishna, then if we don't do that, then our work, our propensities, actually don't have value. So the varnashram system is actually valueless unless and until the members of that varnashram system are dovetailing their service in the service of Krishna. Therefore, Daivi Varnashram, that ultimately your identity is that you're a Vaishnava. You're a Vaishnava, you're not a Shudra, you're not a Vaishya, you're not a Brahmana, you're not a Kshatriya. You're all Vaishnavas. But for the sake of getting a job done in society, making the vehicle work, some of us may do the work of a Shudra, some of us may do the work of a Brahmana, or sometimes you might do the work of a Vaishya and a Kshatriya, or two things together. But that's not what you are. You're a Vaishnava. So we don't identify each other according to Varna, but as Vaishnavas. So that's the perfection of the Varnashram system. So there's going to be a number of more verses. Parikshit asks a lot of questions in this chapter. So many that I'm not sure how Shukadev's going to be able to remember them all when he goes to address them. But the main point is that Parikshit's inquiries are not about, understanding these things so that he can enjoy, but rather, how can I understand and appreciate Krishna and that which emanates from him, his energies, etc., so that I can actually fully fall in love with Krishna. I want to fully understand everything about him. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veditatvaha tyaktva deham punar janma naiti mameti sorjuna. Krishna told Arjuna, if you know me in truth, which means if you know me in full, then you will not take birth again in this material world, because you will know nothing but Krishna, because there is nothing but Krishna. Everything we see, well, that's Krishna. Not that that's Krishna, but it's Krishna's. It's Krishna's piece of art. It's Krishna's piece of technology, right? It's Krishna's piece of intellectual creation, etc. So that's the vision of a pure devotee. He wants to see Krishna everywhere and in everything. And that's the purpose of inquiry. So we'll stop there, see if there's any discussion.
Can you read that one sentence that you read over, about there's no point of the Varnashram?
Yeah. Prabhupada said, the value of such scientific divisions of human society can be ascertained only in terms of the proportionate development of devotional service to the Lord. So if a Varnashram, so-called Varnashram system is mundane, which is called Asuric Varnashram rather than Daiva Varnashram, then if there's no devotional service being evoked from the members of that society, then that Varnashram system has no value. Because the value is only ascertained in terms of the proportionate development of devotional service to the Lord.
I just found it really interesting because this has been a discussion amongst the devotees for some time, because apparently, my understanding has been from certain devotees that were with Prabhupada at the end, that he wanted to sit down with Gitanandri and show us how to develop a Daiva Varnashram system. And then I've heard, some counterpoints to that, and there's all throughout my whole career, limited small amount of time in Krishna consciousness, there's been this constant discussion of the necessity, because we're Vaishnavas. And in the temple, you you wash pots, you have to do all of those activities. Maybe in one day you're doing, because there's the service that is prescribed. There's emergency service, and there's a service that you prefer to do. But so I found that particular sentence really a very critical, because Prabhupada is saying it is an integral part of being a devotee, is understanding the relationships of the different occupations and finding that and having some structure of it, even if it's just to display for the common society so they can see it, like a leela or something. That they can see, oh, this is how society should function. And actually it is already functioning like that. It's such a eye-opening sentence to me. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, and it's a really wonderful analogy Prabhupada repeatedly uses, that the varnashram system could be compared to like the parts of the body.
Right.
Because really, you might have a really beautiful, healthy, strong, intelligent, talented body, but it's totally useless if it's not being used in the service of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's going to become either ashes burned in the fire, or it's going to become the stool of animals that eat it, or it's going to get turned into maggots, eaten by maggots. The body, both subtle and gross, could be stellar, A+, gold medal, but it's totally of no value if it's not being used in the service of the Lord. So we have to show people how to use a human body. This is what your hands should be doing. This is what, Amrish Maharaj, right? Mm-hmm. He used his legs for walking to the temple. He used his eyes for seeing the deity. He used his nose for smelling the flowers. He used his tongue for vibrating and also chanting and tasting Krishna Prasad. He used his body to touch the other bodies. Other bodies of the Vaishnavas, And, he used his whole bodily parts only and solely in the service of the Lord. So why was he wasting his time taking care of the body and making sure it was all healthy and in order? He didn't let it get ill and decrepit and broken, because he wants to show other people how to use the human form of life in the Lord's service. Mm-hmm. So similarly, we're supposed to show the outside world how you can live in a harmonious, cooperative, peaceful, materially prosperous and healthy social structure, but all being used in the service of Krishna, so that it actually becomes of value. Otherwise, what does it matter whether in this material world we're happy and prosperous, or we're miserable and poverty-stricken? We're in a peaceful time, or we're in a war-torn time? Doesn't matter. Wet stool, dry stool. Pick, which one do you want? Wet stool or dry stool? What would you like today? Wet stool or dry stool? What does it matter? So unless it's being used in the service of the Lord, it's all stool. So that's what we're supposed to teach people, how to turn stool into gold. Chintamani.
Because my recollection is that Bhaktivinoda Thakur's instruction to his son, Bhaktisiddhanta, was to print books and spread what Chaitanya's mission, and to develop Daiva Varnashram. And then that was passed on. Prabhupada picked up on bringing his main focus was from that first meeting that you should preach to the Westerners, and that's what he focused on. But in the end of his life, he's thinking, it would have been nice if I could do that, the Daiva Varnashram. But mostly we don't seem to, it's such an abstract concept to it and we struggle within ourselves that here Prabhupada's actually saying it is an integral part of being a devotee. And because it doesn't matter what you do. That's the point. It doesn't matter if you're the person in charge or you're the person, cleaning the commodes. It doesn't really matter. It matters what your consciousness is and what your heart is. And that's the only way that you can have peace and harmony in society, or within ourselves.
Yeah, so that's the real essence of Varnashram is devotional service to Krishna.
Mhm.
But the parts, unless and until the parts recognize the whole, how can they be happy? The hand is trying to do its function nicely, but it's not conscious of the fact that it belongs to this whole thing called a body. It's got this independent mentality. It's ignorance. So no matter what it does, polishes the nails nicely, it keeps the skin all smooth, and exercise the muscles in the hand. Everything's just perfect in the hand. But still the hand is saying, I can't get no satisfaction, though I try and I try. What's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this picture is it's not recognizing the whole. Its spirit, its mentality is not focused on the whole, it's focused on itself. So unless and until the world discovers, by learning from the Vaishnavas, what's wrong with this picture, so that's our duty, to teach the world what's wrong with this picture, how to fix it.
Joy.
Okay, anything else?
I've just heard you were reading something about the governors. Can you read that part?
Yeah, Prabhupada said that.
Prabhupada wrote that, right?
Another example is any person employed in government service. You might have a government job, right? Including the president. He's just a good government employee. Is a part and parcel of the entire government. Everyone is a government servant, but no one is the government himself.
Okay, in relation to that, I don't know much about politics, but I happened to see something yesterday in relation to this with our current president who wants to do something on his own to open the country up. And there is a bunch of other governors, especially the New York one. And he openly said that. He said he cannot do that. If he's going to try to do that, it's going to be really bad. And I didn't understand how this politics works, that Prabhupada is writing over here. What happens if the governors all don't agree?
Yeah, so as soon as somebody thinks, I am the government, the buck stops with me, I get to make I'm the soul. There's going to be a vote, and I'm the only one that's voting. Guess who's going to win? It's going to be 100% unanimous vote, right? So as soon as somebody thinks, I am the government, then it's finished. They have to be in the mentality of servant. Just like one time somebody challenged Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was talking about the 4 classes of men. And they said, oh yeah, and what class do you think you are? Number 1? And Prabhupada said, actually, I'm 5th class because I'm a servant of the 4 classes. So the leader is supposed to be in the mood of, I'm the servant of, I'm the head, like I'm the top, not top servant meaning I'm the top, but I'm the servant of all the other servants here. That's proper government, proper any kind of structure, institution, or whatever.
Prabhupada used to say to someone who's going to be in charge of managing a temple, said, first of all, he was grateful because you're taking my headache. But he also said that means if someone doesn't show up to do the artik, you do that. If someone doesn't clean the floor, then you clean the floor.
Yes, the leader is the USB, the Universal Service Backup.
And so in the very beginning, we've discussed this just recently, how he sent out household couples to various cities, and on their own, Prabhupada said, you should know how to do everything. You should know how to do the fire yoga, you should know how to do this and that. And, though that household couple would then sit down and try to generate, and from that, then things would grow. But the Prabhupada was always trying to train us, that we all should be able to do everything and anything, but we should be willing to sacrifice ourselves and do whatever's the need for at that time, and set the right example. Because he was always setting the right example. Like I just heard a devotee say, I don't know if I mentioned this recently in the class, but I heard one devotee say that it was around the time when they were serving, I think I mentioned it actually the other day, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It was before they were doing some feasts or anything like that. They would come over every afternoon around noon for lunch. Prabhupada would cook the lunch. He would prepare everything. They would come there and meet. And then one day one of them decided, after they got up and ate, said, well, I wanted to know what was going to go on. And then he saw Prabhupada picking up everybody's plates, washing the pots, watching the kitchen, cleaning the floor. And then he realized, maybe, is there something I could do to help? But he never asked them to help. He just did. That's the way it was, that's how Prabhupada came and he just served us. And he's still serving us right now.
So when we're in Shanta Rasa mood, we just appreciate that everything's being done by God knows who.
Right.
And I get to be here. But when we evolve, progress to some inkling of Dasya Rasa, then we start thinking, well, is there something I should be doing or I could be doing? Well, maybe I could pick up that piece of garbage or whatever it is. So it's a very slow evolution for most of us. We have a hard time. We have a really hard time getting off that impersonal platform of Shanta. Just, everything's here. That's Shanta. But Dasya means, how can I roll up my sleeves and do something? Contribute.
Look, I had read that if you take the old flowers out of the temple room, you're cleaning your heart, that represents an artist. So I started saying, well, every time I see a petal on the floor, dead flowers, I should pick them up. But there's never, once you start to pick up the petals on the floor, there's never not a time when there's a petal on the floor.
And of course, Krishna twice in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna thinks this is so important that he makes this point twice in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, that you should do your own duty and not do somebody else's. So, like that, maybe there's somebody assigned to daily cleaning of the temple room. So like you might say, I got to pick up every flower petal. Well, guess what? That's already somebody else's service, so you're actually kind of impeding their service. Now they come in to do it, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we have to be...
You have to use your intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's better to do your service even...
Yeah, we barely have enough time and energy to do our own service, so we could get our nose into everything else that needs to be done,
So thank you very much.
I remember well, one of those places, where Krishna says that twice, but I can't recollect the second place.
18th chapter, he repeats.
I thought it seems like going 18th chapter is a little bit indirect, isn't it?
No, we have Bhagavad Gita here. I don't know the first number though. But it is very...
It's very direct in the chapter.
Yeah, but it's very direct in 18 also. Not that I know the verse number. Here, I opened up to it. 1847. It's better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions.
Right, so then what's the other one?
That's in third chapter.
To perform another's duty is dangerous.
Yeah. It says the same thing.
Better to do one's own duty, not be perfect.
No, didn't it say don't be attached to the fruits
Well, yes, this is something different.
in the same verse? No?
Yeah, this is 335.
335.
It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though faultily, than another's duties perfectly. Instruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duties, for to follow another's path is dangerous. They're both very direct.
Yeah.
I feel profile.
Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.